The problem with life for most people isn't that it's hard and complicated. It's not that it's full of problems and difficulties. It's not that there's so much pain and suffering. Most people keep going in the face of failure, in the face of difficult and challenging odds. Even when things feel hopeless and impossible and everything suggests they shouldn't push forward, a good majority of people do push forward every solitary day. It's not the challenges and the difficulties that make life so unbearable for people. It's when the pain becomes so normal that it's the only thing that you can experience. It's when you convince yourself that nothing in the world is going to change. The moment in life when suddenly you start to have one simple and repetitive thought, that life is too long for you to feel this way every solitary day. That's when people begin to truly pull away from life. Chaos and horrors people will endure. Boredom and monotony will drive a person mad. The terror and violence in prison is nothing to the madness of solitary confinement, largely because people can deal with, in some way, external threats, because there's the potential to escape them. They're defined and they're clear, and we know what they are. But there is no escaping your thoughts, no escaping that sense of who you think you are, no escaping the mind in which you experience the world through. And for most of our lives, our thoughts are what we use to process the world. Rather than experience things for what they are and then leaving them when we're done, we instead glob onto them. We perseverate on every detail of every experience, even while the experience is happening. Rather than just living and experiencing it for what it is, we question ourselves endlessly. We try to make sense of everything that we're experiencing and how it relates to our lives, how we caused whatever's happening, how it's going to affect us in the future. Anything we can think of that isn't continuing the experience that's in front of us, because it's easier to convince ourselves that there isn't much happening if it's not directly happening to us. That's boredom. And the moment you begin to give over to the idea that you're bored in life is the moment that you begin to stop focusing on life. Most of life we spend thinking about things that have nothing to do with life. Most of life we spend ignoring the actual life going on around us. And because of this, we think to ourselves that we're bored, that there's nothing happening. There's always something happening. Life is always unfolding. Even stillness is something. Even silence is something. You just don't clearly see it. You don't marvel that every person you see is living an entire life all their own, that every insect and every animal have their own existence and experience. The wind is created from a process of heating and cooling in the air. Every touch of the sun's ray on your skin, every breath of fresh air in your lungs is an event in the body, an event to be appreciated and experienced, but often goes completely ignored. There are thousands and thousands of stimuli that you miss every second of every day. Experiences that are covered up with your thoughts on things. Experiences that are lost and ignored by the senses because you've convinced yourself that nothing is happening. You've convinced yourself that there is nothing to do or see or experience, and thus you've convinced yourself to blind yourself to life. Now, however, is the time to awaken. Now is the time to truly take shape with the world. To truly be the observer of all that is life, to strip away everything that you think of as you, stopping the nuisance chatter of the mind that keeps you away from the actual truth of reality, looking at the world without judgment, experiencing the world without a need to define everything that happens, letting go of your need to write every experience into the narrative of your life, letting things come and go, enter and leave your life, and then you just move forward. You just keep going. Keep living, keep experiencing, keep becoming more and more part of the universe. Stop being who you think you are. Start seeing the world through your true senses, not a series of cause and effects, not as a litany of bad fortune telling and even worse past recall, but rather to experience this moment, the now, the eternal, for all that it is and for all that is happening. Everything taking shape and form, everything becoming, everything as it is, exactly as it is in that moment. This is life, not the stories, not the narratives. This is life. And now it's time to fully live it and experience it for all that it's worth.